Morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're viewing this. My name is Mike. I'm the Crypto Liberal. Thanks for joining me again today. If you find anything in the video worth your time, worth your while, give me a like, give me a subscribe, hit that bell notification so you know when I'm making new updates to my positions, my thoughts, my ideas, whatever, right? So today, again, everything is trading in concert. Everything's trading exactly in tune with each other. Crypto goes down, stock market goes down, or stock market goes down, crypto goes down, and in reverse correlation goes the DXY, right? So those two, stock market and crypto, go down, DXY is flying off into uncharted territory. So I mean, let's just take a look at the stock market today, right? Stock market, look at this. The Nasdaq's down 2.25%. The S&P is down 1.15. The Dow's down 0.5%, and that's nothing compared to what the DXY continues to do. Look at this, unbelievable. I made it up to 108.25 today. Again, haven't seen these levels for over 20 years. Over 20 years on the DXY. It's getting out of control. So as long as that keeps going up, stock market's going to go down. The crypto's going to go down. And the big thing to keep an eye out for, we've talked about this already, Wednesday morning before the stock market opens, keep an eye out for the CPI numbers. The expected number I'm hearing is 8.8. Again, not I haven't seen that since the 80s, I think early 80s. So if it comes in at 8.8 or higher, we might be in for some trouble again in crypto and the stock market. And maybe it gets a little pullback, right? I mean, oil's coming down lately. The price of oil has come down a little bit in the past few weeks, but I don't know if that happened in time to be reflected in these numbers that are coming out on Wednesday. I don't think so. So we might get another 8.8, 8.9, 9.0, something crazy, and that reduction in those oil prices might not be reflected until next month's CPI numbers. So I'm done trying to predict what the CPI number is going to look like. You'd think the raising of rates would have an impact at this point, but it hasn't. So we'll see. Just keep an eye out for those, and target your positions accordingly. I guess is just what the best advice to give, right? And it's not financial advice. I'm not trying to tell you what to do because nobody knows what's going on at this point. It's just crazy. So let's just Bitcoin before we get into the rest of the video here. Bitcoin, I told you, this W pattern was a possibility. We had a W going on here. Let me see if I can draw it. I suck at drawing, right? But let's see if we can draw it. So we had this W going on, right? Oh, wow, it's not working. Okay, well, forget it. So forget it. I don't want to draw. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, I'm not going to draw. So we had this W working, right? And I said, we need to get above this first hump, and we did. But I said, it's not going to go anywhere because there's no volume, right? We still haven't had any volume. It's going to be tough to get across this blue line, which is, resistance going back to our first dump from the Terra Luna debacle. And that's also corresponds to the 200-week moving average, is I think right around that blue line. So it's exactly what happened. We wicked up to that blue line, which I had there for weeks prior to it wicking up there. We wicked up there, got rejected, and here we're going back down. And I would not be surprised if we keep going back down until the CPI numbers are announced on Wednesday. And if they come out as surprise to the good side, instead of 8.8 we get an 8.2, maybe we reverse and we can get above that blue line. But I don't know. Maybe I'm done guessing. The one constant, right? The one constant we've been right on this channel is that alt season is coming. Alts are looking bullish versus Bitcoin, and they are. They are. Sure, on a down day like today, maybe some of the alts are getting a little bit hit a little bit harder than Bitcoin, but I've shown you 5 charts and alt charts that are looking bullish versus Bitcoin. It's not just 1 or 2. There's 5 that we brought to this channel, and there's other ones that I haven't brought yet. And so if you appreciate that, me bringing these to the channel, give me a like, give me a subscribe. So let's just talk about for I've had this channel for 10 weeks now. And since day one on this channel, I've told you, in my opinion, not financial advice, ADA, Cardano, would outperform Ethereum and Bitcoin by the end of the year, a year from now, and 5 years from now. And Ethereum would outperform Bitcoin by those same time frames. And to prove it to you, I'm trying to prove it to you. I prove it to you on Twitter, and I prove it to you on these videos. I'm trying to prove my hypothesis. It's, I'm not going to just make a prediction and then, not talk about it if it doesn't pan out, or come back in 6 months and say, oh, hey, I was right. No, what I'm doing, right, is every week we put $100 into ADA, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. And we've been doing it. This will be the 10th week today. We do it every Monday. So we put $100 every week, and this is the 10th week. So we put $1,000 into those 3 coins. How we in that portfolio? Look at this. I told you ADA is going to outperform. ADA is outperforming. They're all down against the US dollar. But ADA is outperforming Bitcoin, right? We have, so far we put $900 in. ADA is outperforming Bitcoin by $41. Now ETH is dragging, but again, I said it would outperform Bitcoin by the end of the year. So we still have time. We still have ETH 2.0 to carry us over the finish line there, right? So today, like I said, we're putting another $100 in, and follow me on Twitter at @crypto_liberal. I will post this on there. I will show it on the video right now, what we're buying, how much we're buying of each of those coins, and we will track it for the rest of the year for in perpetuity, so I can prove my hypothesis to you, right? I'm not just one of those people that's just gonna forget about a prediction, and if I'm wrong, it'll be documented for you to know that I'm wrong, and then you can just not follow me. But if I'm right, man, I hope you appreciate that. I hope you're hitting that subscribe button, because I know I'm gonna be right. Not financial advice. I have been wrong before, but I'm generally more right than I'm wrong, and so far I've proven it on this channel. So $100 into each. What are we doing? $100 into Bitcoin at $20,381.78. $100 into Ethereum at $1,133.77. And $100 into Cardano at 0.4467 cents. Okay, so follow me on Twitter. I will tell you how much $100 translates into each of those coins. We will track it on that portfolio, and I will give you updates pretty much every day of how my hypothesis will be proven correct by the end of the year. Remember, by the end of the year. I didn't say by now, even though ADA is already outperforming. It is already outperforming before Basel. Before Basel comes out. As soon as Basel comes out, ADA is going to explode. That's my contention. I'm sticking to it. And so far it's working out for me, right? So let's just take a quick gander at some of these alt charts, because they're getting hit a little harder today because everything's down, right? Everything's down, but they're still up against Bitcoin. So let's just take my first example. And so I look at the ADA versus BTC chart, right? And I look at the weekly chart. So these are not short-term trades. I am not trying to get you in a trade or talk about getting myself into a trade and then getting out in a week or a month or even 3 months. These are long-term trades, 6 months, 12 months. And I think I'll be proven right. But I told you about this trade about 4 weeks ago now, right at the exact bottom, right when ADA was about to turn against Bitcoin. And we nailed it. We nailed it at the bottom, pretty much. Just perfect. So let's look at it, right? I told you on this weekly chart, ADA versus Bitcoin, when it was down here at the bottom of this, so we had this descending wedge, right? This descending wedge, it goes back a long ass time, back to August of last year. So, 11 months, almost a year long, right? And I told you right when after we had broken the top of this descending wedge, this red line, we broke it out. We tested it we tested the former resistance as support, and I brought it to you when we were down right at the support, basically. And it was about when one ADA was 0.000019 Bitcoin. And now we're at 0.000021 Bitcoin. So it's like a 15% return. I told you at the exact bottom, right when it was turning against Bitcoin, and we had that giant green candle, right when we were after we broke out, we tested as support. I said, I'm moving a lot of Bitcoin into ADA right now at this very moment. And what happened? We had this giant green candle, and we've given some of it back since then, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm not worried about it because I'm like I said, that's a 15%, almost a 50% return. We were up to 25, 26, 27% at one point, but it's still around a 15% return. So if you had followed me in the night I said I was doing it, the night I put it on video for for documentation in perpetuity, if you had followed me in with one Bitcoin, you would have turned one Bitcoin into 1.15 Bitcoin at this point, right? Without trading on leverage. You don't need to trade on leverage. You can do that. You can stack sats without trading on leverage. You don't have to put your whole portfolio in jeopardy and by getting liquidated. You can just, maneuver in and out of coins. So we did that on ADA, and it worked out perfectly. It worked out beautifully. We're killing it on that trade. And I'm not waiting for turning one Bitcoin into 1.15 Bitcoin. No, I'm waiting to turn one Bitcoin into 3 Bitcoin, right? 2 Bitcoin into 6 Bitcoin. If you had followed me in that night, because what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for this 0.000019 Bitcoin to come all the way back up here to 0.00006 Bitcoin, approximately, right? Right? The top of that wedge. That's what I'm waiting for. And I think we'll get there. And again, this is not something that's going to happen next week, next month, 3 months from now, probably 6 months from now. It took us a year to get to the bottom, to go from that top of that falling wedge to the bottom of that falling wedge. It took us a year to get there. So it might take us a year to get back out of there. But that's what I'm waiting for. And if you appreciate that, I will. And I might not wait with all the funds that I have in ADA. I might pull some out as we go up. And I will tell you when I do that on this channel. So follow me, hit that subscribe button, and I will be forthcoming and honest and tell you when I'm moving out, when I'm taking profits, right? And so this is the other point I want to make here, right? Is why am I so bullish, right? Look there's people that got into ADA up here, that were buying ADA up here when it was strongest against Bitcoin. And why am I moving out of Bitcoin now? Because look at the hit that ADA has taken over a year, right? And I'm not saying that ADA can't go down against Bitcoin. It has the past couple weeks, right? But the time you want to get in is after you've taken this giant hit for a year. We've just gotten destroyed against Bitcoin for a year. And now that we're at the bottom, that is breaking out of this pattern, right? That's the time you want to get in. That's the time you want to recognize alt season. All these alts have gotten destroyed against Bitcoin. And now when they're starting to break out, before anybody else is recognizing it, before anybody else is getting a hint, a little whiff of alt season, that's when you want to make your move. That's when you want to make your positions. That's when we want to establish positions that will give you life-changing money over not the next week, month, 3 months, 6 months even, right? The next year, because those moves they can't be sustained. Going from 0.00006 Bitcoin down to 0.000019, it can't keep going. It will turn around, and that, my friends, is called alt season. And that's just one chart, right? Let's do another one real quick. I'm not going to go through all of them again today because we do it almost every day on this channel. But let's look at the other one, that my second biggest position. ETH versus Bitcoin. And again, I look at the Coinbase chart, and again, the weekly chart, right? Okay, so this is not a short-term trade. And again, what happened? Look at what happened from the past, for the longest time. I mean, since November of last year, when Ethereum has just gotten destroyed against Bitcoin. And look at this perfect ascending triangle we're in, right? Look at this red support line that goes back to November of 20, right? So we're almost at 2 years now at this point. We're just a few months short of 2 years. This support line perfectly, beautifully holding. Look at that. And this upper blue line, the top of the ascending triangle, right? Look at that, how long it's held as resistance, how beautiful that resistance is. And I told you, right when we were testing this support line, the first time we were testing this support line, I said, hey, if this holds, this will be a golden opportunity. And that next week, I went in when, and we wicked down below it. Excuse me, we wicked down below that support line, but look, we closed above it. And every week since then, we've continued to hold it. And we got in at 0.052 Bitcoin. And right now, we're at 0.055 Bitcoin. Like, that's like a 10% return. A 10% return without trading on leverage. We're stacking sats without trading on leverage. And that's 2 for 2 trades that we're beating Bitcoin on, right? It's beautiful. Okay, we'll look at one more because I want to be honest and forthcoming, right? I've brought 3 trades to this channel, even though I brought like 5 charts that are all bullish against Bitcoin right now. 5 alt charts that are all bullish versus Bitcoin. But to be forthcoming, I went in another position, and that was DOT, right? DOT, Polkadot versus Bitcoin. And I went in like a week ago now. Because again, this chart looks a lot like the ADA chart. We broke out, we came back, look at this, we tested it as support this week. 2 weeks ago now, or a little over a week ago now. We tested it, that resistance line, as support. It held, it bounced, so I went in. I went in at 0.00035 Bitcoin. And yeah, we're losing a little bit, so it's a week-old trade. Again, I'm not trading for a week. This is a long-term trade, a 6-month trade perhaps. And last week, we had a red week. We came down, but we held that resistance line, now support, beautifully. Look at that. We held it beautifully last week. And this week is turning green. This week is turning green. So I would submit to you that that chart is still bullish versus Bitcoin, right? So give me a couple weeks. I'm still firmly of the belief that that chart, that trade will turn green, will turn positive versus Bitcoin, and I will be 3 for 3 on this channel. And again, I bring these charts to you right at the exact moment that they're turning bullish versus Bitcoin. I didn't bring it to you when I started this channel 10 weeks ago. I said by the end of the year, I was firmly in the camp that ADA will outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum, but the chart didn't tell me now is the time to really move out of Bitcoin into ADA. I was dollar cost averaging into ADA then, but not until I brought it to that channel at the exact opportune moment did I say I'm taking Bitcoin and moving it into ADA. And it's worked out beautifully. It's worked out beautifully in ADA. It's worked out beautifully in Ethereum. And I still think it will work out beautifully in Polkadot. So the next one I'm watching, and I'll just do one more, right? The next one I'm watching, because I might get into it, is AAVE, right? And again, I'm looking at the weekly chart, and I'm looking at AAVE versus Bitcoin. And look at this. Again, it kind of reminds me of the ADA chart, of the Polkadot chart. It's a descending wedge. Last week we broke out, and I said, hey, keep an eye on this week. See if that resistance line we broke out of now, see if it holds. See if that holds. And if it does, maybe it's a good time to get into AAVE. Now, we could break back into the pattern, at which point I will leave it alone because there is still quite a bit left of this pattern before we get to the apex. There's still a lot of room to the downside. But, right, look at how it's gotten killed. Look at how this has gotten killed against Bitcoin for a year, right? It's gotten destroyed. So, and look at that support line. It's held beautifully, 2-3 touches, right? And the resistance line, a couple touches again, 2-3, some wicks up there, some candles close right on there. So it's looking beautiful. Now this candle, this weekly candle this week needs to hold above that resistance, now support line hopefully. And then maybe I jump into a position on AAVE. Not sure yet, but I'll talk about it on Sunday, this coming Sunday, if I do, right? Because I want to wait for that weekly candle to close. So that's it. I hope you're having an awesome Monday. Keep an eye on the CPI. That's the key number everybody in the whole country is waiting for. Whether you're investing in the stock market, whether you're investing in crypto, whatever, right? Whether you just are worried about how you're going to pay your gas bills the next few months, right? Keep an eye on the CPI number. That's the key figure. That's going to probably dictate how things go for the next month or 2 months. What happens on Wednesday morning before the stock market opens. So that's it. I hope you're having a great Monday. My name is Mike. I am the Crypto Liberal. We'll chat more tomorrow. Good night.